Hey, good morning. Happy NFL Sunday football beer. That's why we're here, fans. He's Dave. I'm Chuck, and we're glad to be here today. And before we jump into it, I just want to, you know, just say, thoughts and prayers going to Damar Hamlin this week. Everybody knows exactly what happened, but he's obviously the last update I read this morning. They're going to try. He's awake. He's going to try to watch the game at the hospital. Watch his teammates play today in the last game of the regular season. Also, today I heard that they have renegotiated his contract because he was going to get a pay reduction if he went to the IR. They placed him on the IR, and but they've negotiated his contract so that it's paid in full. It's $3.6 million, I think it is, and so good on that. And I think the other positive thing out of that is he had a toy drive and only wanted $2,500. I just look, I got it up here. The GoFundMe up there now. It's at $8.4 million of a goal of 2,500. That he wanted to raise for a toy drive. So over 240,000 people have donated to this. So feel free to go out and do that and support his cause. But just what a great outpouring. This guy's pretty much out of it most of the week, and just the entire world is basically focused on him. And so yeah. Any thoughts on that? I didn't even prepare you in before the show.
No, it's just been pretty amazing to watch through the week. All the attention that he's getting, the positive attention he's getting, and that outpouring of support. Just financially, also, I heard a story. As far as the Cincinnati Bengals, because he got hurt in Cincinnati, and so he's been in their hospital there in Cincinnati. And the coach's wife, she got a bunch of the different schools in Cincinnati to write him basically get well cards. So kids were making get well cards to send him. So he's going to have like thousands of get well cards to go through. I'm imagining. So just cool to see people rally around somebody and give them support, and everyone kind of be on the same page of what's important, and supporting a fella that they don't know. Watching him get better, every day there's been a little bit of an update of he's doing better and better, and the most recent one with him getting the tube out and breathing on his own and talking, and coming to the weird realization that, I've basically been in a coma for 2.5, 3 days, and I didn't even know it. That's got to be a wild feeling to not know you've been basically out for 3 days. It was just cool. It's been cool to watch this, and I hope he just gets better and better. And I'm sure it'll be interesting to see how he recoups from this, and if he'll still have a football career. I don't know if it was just a one-time situation where he got hit in the right spot at the right time, on his heart and made his heart stop or whatever. But it would be interesting to watch his journey moving forward also.
Yeah. All right. So we wouldn't be football beer without the beer. So today, I don't know if I've had this one on the show before, so I apologize if I have, but it's a pretty good one. It's a Arizona beer, and it's Papago Orange Blossom. It is an orange wheat beer. It's a light wheat beer with hints of bright citrus and creamy vanilla, served with a fresh orange slice. Mine is not served with an orange slice. Now that I read the back of the can, I could have. We have oranges, but it's actually for a wheat beer. It's actually quite light, and but it has a really deep flavor. You would think that, okay, I'm looking at this. It's kind of caramely, but it's somewhat see-through, but the flavor profile is definitely orange wheat, and it's got a deeper complexion than the actual color of the brew. So so this is, and they've got this on tap at a lot of places around Arizona. Places we go, the movie theater has a bar in there, and they got the Papago Orange Blossom on tap, and it's a good beer. Actually didn't purchase this for the show, just had it in the refrigerator to enjoy this week. So so what you got on tap?
Oh, that sounds good. You haven't had that beer on the show, because I would remember, because I like things orange, all things orange. So I know you haven't had that one. I am going for, even though of course I'm decked out in my, Frank Gore 60th anniversary patch jersey today. It doesn't matter. We're in. I mean, for seeding, maybe it matters that we win today. We still have a chance to get to the 1 seed, which we'll get to. Chuck and I have all the playoff scenarios and seeding scenarios today to update you with going into the games. But I'm really a fan of the Seahawks. Going to root for my wife Seahawks today to get in the playoffs. So I got a beer, this Elysian Contact Hazy IPA. It's a 6%. Brewed out of Seattle. They also brew out of Fort Collins, Colorado. And so I'm having this hazy IPA this morning. Got a nice, good haze on it.
Yeah, it does.
And it's good. Yeah, it's pretty fruity profile. It's kind of guava, a little bit of orange, kind of those flavors. But yeah, good so far. So, but yeah, I'm rooting for the Seahawks today. They need to win, obviously, to get into the playoffs today. They have a home game against the Jets, and we'll get into that real soon.
Yeah, so let's we got a lot to get through in our time today. So let's get running with it. So last week, you picked up a couple games on me. I had a 6-point lead going in. We both finished above 500, but you had a great 10-5 week. That's fantastic. And yeah, I went against the grain on a lot of picks. We had a lot going on that you had an opportunity to catch up. But yeah, you picked up a couple games, so I still have a 4-game lead. It looks like in the last week of the regular season. Of course, we'll keep this going through the Super Bowl and see where that ends. But good job picking up some games, and a good job on a good week. 10-5 is not a bad week at all.
I'll take it, especially after the season I've had.
Right. Okay. So, hey, you want to do the picks first or playoff picture first?
Maybe we'll do the playoff scenarios first and roll through that on what's going to happen with the games today, and then that may determine the spreads. Because some teams today we were talking about before the show. There's going to be half of the league that isn't playing their starters the last week today, just because they need to find out we got some backups here. We're not making the playoffs, or we're already locked into the playoffs and we're not going to move seating wise. We need to figure out some of these contracts we have coming next year. Are these guys we want to re-sign? We need to give them a little bit more of a look. They haven't got to play as much this year, so now we're going to play them a lot. Essentially, for some teams, this is like week 3 preseason. We need to look at some guys, see if we want them to still be on the squad next year. Give them some time, or just rest guys. Like if you're going into the playoffs, like Tom Brady's probably not going to play today. Why would he? They can't change their seating. You're not going to get Tom Brady hurt the last game of the day. He might play a couple series to stay fresh or something. I don't think he plays the whole game.
I read that he is starting.
Yeah, he'll probably start. Maybe he plays the half or something, but I think it'd be crazy to keep him in for a whole game when you can't change your seating. And, if he gets hurt any weird reason, you're screwed for your playoffs. So there are some teams that are taking a much safer approach, I guess, than the Bucs. But, yeah, let's go ahead and start with the AFC and just kind of go over today. The Chiefs clinched last night, so they destroyed the Raiders. Mahomes is Mahomes, making great plays. He's the only quarterback this season that's thrown for over 40 touchdown passes, 5,000 yards. He should be the MVP of the league. They got the 1 seed in their conference, so I think he makes a pretty big case for MVP. But they have the 1 seed. So they got the 1 seed with their win last night. So all that stuff about the Bills and the Bengals and how the game isn't going to be replayed and they're going to have one less game than everyone and all that stuff. It doesn't really matter anymore. As long as the Bengals win today against the Ravens, that's not going to matter. The Chiefs locked up the 1st seed. The Bills, they get a win. They're going to be the 2 seed. Bengals 3 seed. And you can see there the Jaguars, they beat the Titans last night, so they got the 4 seed no matter what. They're in the 4 seed. Titans almost pulled it off. Didn't think they would. Unfortunately, that young quarterback Dobbs got hit from behind while he's trying to throw the ball. Not his fault. Needs a little bit better blocking, and he fumbles at the end of the game for a scoop and score for a Jags team that could not score. So their defense had to win it for them. Very exciting game. And as we were saying too, I'm glad the Jaguars win. I felt like they deserved it. How they have the momentum over there in Jacksonville. They got, their quarterback of the future there. He finally, gets them back into a playoff game. And the Titans just didn't deserve it. They'd been playing like crap the whole second half of the season. Who's our quarterback? We don't know. We ran through 3 of them this year.
Right.
We have to hand Derrick Henry the ball 40 times just to have a chance. And they didn't deserve it, I didn't think. And then you get down to the Chargers. They're in. I mean, they're in. I don't think they can move anywhere. They're the 6th seed. And then what we're fighting for is that 7th seed, there. So I've talked most of this. If you want to take that 7th seed scenario and talk about that a little bit if you want. But there's a few games, that really matter today for that 7th seed.
Yeah, there's a few teams between the Patriots and oh gosh, now I can't even remember how to. But there's a few scenarios where you can win and get in, but unfortunately, they're up against the Bills today, and that's unfortunately tough sledding. That's not the team I'd want to be playing, to get into the playoffs. And so I don't think that. I think it's these 3 teams here, and the Dolphins and the Steelers. Also, the Steelers. Here we are, week 18, talking that the Steelers have a chance, an outside chance. And I also thought that the Dolphins. You look at Tua, who's been hurt, it would probably be a different scenario if Tua was able to finish out, play all season. They'd probably be up in the playoffs. I would expect the way they were playing early. But anyway, so these 3 teams have an opportunity, but I think the Patriots could win. They're in. The Dolphins win. They're in. The Steelers, I think, need some help.
Yeah, it's basically the Patriots can clinch with a win, but they got to beat the Bills, or they need the Dolphins to lose to the Jets, and they need a Steelers loss to the Browns. So the Patriots need quite a bit. I would say the Dolphins might be in the best shape to get this, just because they have to beat the Jets, which I feel like they can do, and they need the Patriots to lose to the Bills, which I think is very possible. So
right,
the Dolphins kind of just need to win today, and they might be set up. And then the Steelers need everything to happen. They need to win. They have to have the Browns. Yeah, they have to win against the Browns, and then the Dolphins have to lose, and the Patriots have to lose. So they have a very outside chance. I feel like if the Dolphins can win today, they have a good shot. But you never know. Any given Sunday, I didn't think the Titans would play as well as they did last night, and they almost got in.
Right.
So really, anything's still up for grabs with those 3 teams to get in.
Trying to. I blew this up and now I got rid. Oh, there it is over on the other side. How did that happen? So over on the NFC, Eagles still number 1. 49ers 2. I did not picture the 49ers being up there at the beginning of the season. Good for your team though. Where do we go from there?
Well, the Eagles can clinch the 1 seed with a win today. So they beat the Giants. They're in. They have the 1 seed. They get the bye. 49ers can clinch with a win, and the Eagles need to lose. Then the 49ers would get the 1 seed. And the Cowboys can clinch if they beat the Commanders, and the Eagles lose, and the 49ers lose. So Cowboys need a lot to happen for them to get it. Eagles win, they get it. Eagles lose, 49ers win, 49ers get it. So that's how that 1 seed's going to work, which is kind of crappy for either kind of the Eagles or the Bills, because, whoever wins that East division, the second place team is going to have probably like the second best record in the NFC, but it's going to have to be a 5 seed and play, essentially an away game, first round of the playoffs. And anyone's got to be pissed that they have to go to Tampa Bay and play a team that made it 8-8. You got a better record, and you got to go just because they won their crappy division. But the Bucs are locked in the 4 seed. They can't go anywhere. That's why I was surprised they're going to play Tom Brady, just because I don't know. Do you need to keep him fresh?
Well,
but
he's Tom Brady though. He does have one thing to play for. He's never finished at 500 or worse.
Oh, yeah.
So that number on the left's never been equal to or less than the number on the right.
Yeah, that's true. That's a pride thing, I guess. But yeah, and then the Giants, they're locked at the 6th seed, so that's not going to change. So really, they're just going into that 7th seed, which is going to be very exciting. Because the last game of the night is the Lions and the Packers. And the winner of that game, it's kind of like the Tennessee-Jacksonville game. The winner of that game will be in the playoffs. The loser should be out. The Lions going into Green Bay will be interesting. I mean, when have the Lions had a chance to pay spoiler ever for the playoffs for the Packers? The Lions have been so terrible for so long that it'll be fun to see them get this chance on the road to beat, the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay.
This is really my game of the week.
Yeah, it is for me too. And then, like I said, the Seahawks today, they just have to win. They need to beat the Jets to give themselves a chance. And then all the Seahawks fans have to be Lions fans today, because the only way the Seahawks can get in is if the Lions beat the Packers and the Seahawks win. So, so Seahawks can clinch with a win and a Packers loss. So, Seattle, you need to be Detroit fans. You need that big upset.
Oh, so a lot going on. I mean, there can be some spoilers today and some different scenarios at that playoffs going to be kind of fun.
Yeah.
I would like to see the Dolphins make the playoffs, at least first round. So I'm actually hoping the scenario works out that the Dolphins get in, that Tua is healthy. I don't know if he's back to playing this week or not. No, that's going to be.
I don't even think it's Teddy Bridgewater either. I think they're on the 3rd string today.
Wow. Well, yeah, because they haven't been playing well, even with Teddy. So, that's going to be. It's such a promising season. Just down the drain if you can't. That's gonna be. I think that's gonna hurt a lot if I'm a Dolphins player. Yeah. It's like, man, we were running the table. We were strong. We're one of the best teams in the league. What can you do about injuries? You can't stop them. But
Skylar Thompson starting for the Dolphins.
Skylar Thompson.
Yeah, so good luck, Skylar Thompson.
Yeah, exactly. So we had a couple of games yesterday. We'll go ahead and get into our picks. We had a couple of games yesterday played in the NFL, both in the AFC. So we had the Chiefs and the Raiders. The Chiefs took care of business, no problem, 31-13. I don't know if you saw the little, what they call the little ring around the rosy huddle for a touchdown called back. Nothing hurt because they scored again anyway. But at that point, it's like, are you just toying with the team? It's like, hey guys, let's do this little thing and then run to the line and and it's like, because the play itself really, it was like, okay, it wasn't that fancy. I mean, it was throwback across the field, but realistically, I don't know that you really fooled the Raiders on defense. They're just bad.
Yeah, I mean, the Raiders are just bad. They have to regroup. They have so much talent there too. I mean, they have some great players. They have some of the best players in the league. They have Josh Jacobs, he's going to easily probably lead the league in rushing by the end of today. He got more yards yesterday, but he was already crushing the next guy. Going into this game, he had over 1,600 rushing yards. The next guy was Nick Chubb for Cleveland, didn't even have 1,500. So Josh Jacobs basically ran away with the rushing record for yards this year. Devontae Adams is at the top of all receivers in every category. Justin Jefferson for Minnesota and Tyreek Hill from Miami are the only ones that have some stats more than him in several categories, but he's top 3 receiver still. You have Max Crosby, who has the most tackles for losses in the NFL by far. Not sacks, but tackles behind the line of scrimmage total. He's crushing everybody in the league. So, like, you have so many good pieces there for the Raiders. Now you just need to get the right quarterback, which it seems like Derek Carr isn't that guy for them anymore.
Right.
And you need the right coach, which I don't think they currently have the right coach for the team right now either. I mean, if you can't – they won 10 games last year, and they didn't have Devontae Adams. So how do you only win like 7 this year? Like, I don't know. Yeah, they're going to regroup with quarterback and coaching, and they have the talent to do it, and they have the location. If you're a free agent, how do you not want to go play in Las Vegas?
Because you might have a gambling problem.
Maybe. Yeah, you're going to spend you're going to be at Nobu eating $300 meals every night or something like that. I don't know, but yeah.
So get back over here, this other screen here. So, and then we also had last night that Titans and the Jaguars. Jaguars did not lead in this game at all, and they, honestly, I was kind of depressed how poorly the offense for the Jags played, and especially in the last couple of drives, just kind of going 3 and out. I mean, it's only like a few minutes left in the game. You're going to have to, hold off the Titans and to get, and maybe have a minute left, to try to get down the field when you haven't been able to do anything, or much of anything. I mean, some of the errant passes thrown and from Trevor Lawrence, but their defense pulls out a nice little scoop and score and makes 2016 and to get the win. But I know you had a lot of impressive things to say about Dobbs before the show.
Yeah, I mean, he just looked good. It's only a second start. He gave his team on the road a chance to win and go to the playoffs, which they have been railing just the whole second half of the season. They just have not looked good at all. And for them to at least have a shot to still get in, and he played very well. I mean, he completed a high percentage of passes the first half, mixed in with a good, Derrick Henry attempt. He's always going to put it out there and get a bunch of carries. But I thought Dobbs looked pretty good. I don't know what they're going to do. They drafted that Willis kid really high that they played a couple times this year. Tannehill's definitely gone. He's not the quarterback there of the future anymore. That's all over. He'll probably be a career backup for the rest of his career. I could see Tannehill just being a good solid backup somewhere for a good team or something. But yeah, it's Dobbs, Willis are going to compete next year, probably for that job. So they better both be preparing over the summer, because I think it's going to be a pretty steep competition to see who's going to be their quarterback. And then, the Jaguars, it's just looking at that game, going into the playoffs, whoever won, I'm just like, well, they're going to lose first round.
Yeah, exactly.
After watching last night, I'm like, oh, you get this team against the Chiefs or the Bills or the Bengals, either one of them. I'm like, there's going to be a playoff line spread of like 14 against either one of these teams, whoever they play.
Exactly.
Like probably first round. And they'll get a home game. That's what's crappy, is because they won the division. Their first round, they'll get a home game against a team that probably deserves, kind of like Tampa in their division. It's the same thing with these guys. They'll get a home playoff game against a team that probably deserves a home playoff game more than they do. So kind of a bummer of a game, because it's kind of like, well, two teams that aren't very good and one's going to get in the playoffs.
So those were yesterday's games. Then we got a full slate today coming up. First one on the docket is the Ravens are going to play the Bengals. The Ravens are still without Lamar Jackson. Their season's so they're on the road. Bengals are favored by 7 at home. I'll jump in first and say that I have no problem taking the Bengals at home today.
Yeah, and I don't think the Ravens are paying Huntley either. I think they're on their third string quarterback
Mhm.
today in Cincinnati against a very pissed off Bengals team because the NFL was kind of throwing around, oh, you're going to have an alternative site if in the AFC Championship game if this, and this happens, and after the whole aftermath of the game getting canceled and stuff, the Bengals definitely were the team that kind of got hosed on all the decision making moving forward. So I think you're going to have a very pissed off Bengals team at home that are going to be ready to absolutely destroy the beaten up Ravens. Uh, Bengals are going to give their crowd something to really cheer for today. I think this is a huge blowout today.
Yeah, and you got to go into the playoffs. You have to go into the playoffs with momentum. I think there's a lot to play for the Bengals here. I just don't know what the Ravens. I don't know if they expect Lamar Jackson to be back next. For the playoffs. They're currently in the 6th position, or they clinched. So I don't know if they expect him to be back next week, or if they're going to ride someone else through the playoffs. So that'll be tough sledding if he's not back. All right, so the Browns and the Steelers. So the Steelers got a lot to play for here. They got to win. Now they're at 800 right now, and if they lose, then that's Mike Tomlin's first losing season, and so they definitely have got a lot to play for today. And the Browns, they don't. They got to play for next year. Steelers are favored at home by 2.5. Who you got here?
I'm going to take the Steelers at home. I just feel like when you have a guy on your team like T.J. Watt and you have a coach, Mike Tomlin, like T.J. Watt, that whole team definitely knows Mike Tomlin's not had a losing season in his career. And they have a chance to get into the playoffs. It's a slim chance, but if they do what they need to do, they've at least done their part, right? They can't do anything about what other teams are doing, but they can win and do their part. And I think at home, huge home field advantage, rivalry game, Steelers Browns. And yeah, what do the Browns really have to play for except for spoiler? I feel like the Steelers are going to rally around Tomlin, and they have been playing better. They've been playing better lately. So finishing off the season strong. I'll take the Steelers, and it's only a field goal at home, yeah. 2.5. I'll take the Steelers.
Yeah, I'm on board with you there, taking the Steelers because they have more to play for, and the Browns are just, I don't know. I'm just not confident the Browns. I think there's more ambition on behalf of the Steelers to win this game today. So. But I'm on board with you there. Vikings and Bears. Vikings are going to go visit the Bears. I was doing my research this morning and was trying to find any reason to pick the Bears. I was looking for a reason. Give me a solid reason, Google and interweb, to let me pick the Bears, but I can't. I got to take the Vikings on the road by 4. They're. I mean, going in the playoffs, they need. You want that momentum. The Bears aren't playing for anything, so taking the Vikings.
Yeah, Justin Fields isn't playing today either, and he's the Bears' whole offense.
Oh,
he's a whole offense. He runs around everywhere. He's their leading rusher at quarterback. I mean, he has to do everything. So if he's not in the game, what are they going to do? And I feel like how Minnesota's been playing, they really need to put it on the Bears and get some confidence going into the playoffs because they haven't been playing very consistently the last handful of games. They have all the talent. They're a good team, but they just haven't been putting it together. So I feel like they need to have a big confidence win going into the playoffs, and I think they're going to put it down on the Bears pretty hard today. So I'm definitely taking the Vikings.
Very good. All right, so one of the big games today, obviously, is the Patriots and the Bills. The Bills are at home. They're favored by 7.5. I don't know that the Patriots' offense is is good enough. I part of me wants to think that the Patriots defense might do better today than their offense. But who you got here?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bills. This is kind of hard because you wonder emotionally how much this week took out of the Bills. They watched their teammate go down. They've all been thinking about him. I don't know how much focus you can have completely when you're worried about your teammate and you're getting updates and I don't know how locked in the team was after this whole week of what happened, but just talent-wise and what they should do. Maybe they come out very pumped because they know he's going to be watching, apparently, from the hospital. And you come out and you really, hey, this one's for our guy. Well, let's come out and slaughter this Patriots team and give him, something real good to watch in his recovery there, which I think is a good possibility, and that's why I'm going to take the Bills. Plus, I can't trust Mac Jones. I can't trust that Patriots offense. The Bills' defensive line is so good that I don't know if Harris and Stevenson are going to be able to run the ball that well, which they need to do for Mac Jones to even have a shot to be successful, is they have to have a running game to go with him. But I feel like the Bills are kind of like in the Bengals situation where last week was so weird and such a different thing that they have all this energy going into this week to really put on a big performance after what happened last week.
Yeah, no, I'm on board with that as well. Taking the Bills, I think they've definitely going to be pumped up for this game. Sometimes, with emotions and stuff, you kind of get a little overexcited. Passes go long, short, wide, whatever. You miss, because you're just amped up. But they keep their emotions in check and still understand. Hey, playing for our guy today. And we're playing for to look strong going into the playoffs. I think they should be able to cover the 7.5.
Yeah.
All right, moving right along. Jets and Dolphins. Dolphins are favored at home by a point with their third string quarterback, as you mentioned. The Jets are on their third, fourth, fifth, 10th. I don't know. They've played a lot of quarterbacks this year, and even a Super Bowl champion they got on their bench, Flacco, right?
He's playing today. He's the
starter.
Is
he really?
He's the starter. Yeah.
See, that might change my mind now.
He's the starter.
But obviously, there's a reason that he's been sitting so long. I mean, they might have been looking at talent. Dolphins are favored at home by 1. This is a tough one, but I did put my name next to the Dolphins.
Yeah. This will be the first game where we differ, and I'm gonna bring it out why. So these head coaches, so we have Robert Saleh as the head coach of the Jets. He was the defensive coordinator for the 49ers for the last handful of years before he became the head coach. Okay, old Mikey is the new coach of the Dolphins. He was the 49ers offensive coordinator for a handful of years before he became the head coach of the Dolphins. These two coaches know each other very well. They've had to have their guys go against each other in practice for several years. So they know each other super well, one as a defensive coordinator, one as an offensive coordinator of the same team for years. Defense wins ball games. The Jets have a very good defense. They have Sauce Gardner, this young kid who has, I think he's tied for the most interceptions in the league for the Jets. That's who you put on Tyreek Hill. That's who you have on Waddle. So that gives you a decent chance compared to other teams that don't have a kid like him against those receivers and the third string quarterback. And the Jets' defensive line is really good also. So you have a young quarterback who could get a lot of pressure on him from the Jets. Saleh's going to rush this kid. He's going to blitz him, put him in awkward situations to make plays. And then you got veteran Flacco, which I think you got a little veteran magic. This could be Flacco's last game of his career.
Yeah.
It could be why they played him. Hey, it doesn't matter. You're going to retire. Why don't you go in and get one more win in your career and go out in a positive note, the best way you could go out, winning a game, your last game of your career to knock a team out of the playoffs. So just all that storyline and everything, and it's 1 point. So I'm going to go for the Jets. I think it's going to be a very low scoring game also. So this could be like 13-10 Jets. So I'll take the Jets.
I'm going 24-10 Dolphins. If you're putting out a score, I might as well throw out something I don't know anything about. No, I think, if they come after him, hopefully this Skylar kid, as you shared, hopefully he can sling the ball, and that's you come after with the blitz. That means there's fewer defenders, and as long as you can place the ball in Tyreek Hill's hands, he's going to make something happen, or Waddle. So, hopefully that, they may start that way, and if they can get the completions and then that'll back that off. So, well, we'll see. So we got a game different now. Moving on, this was kind of a surprise to me. The Bucs Falcons. Falcons are at home. Falcons are actually favored by 4 at home with their second quarterback of the season after they benched my Mariota. But I read this morning because I thought, okay, this has to be because Tom Brady's not playing. And so when I looked, Todd Bowles said that Tom Brady is starting the game today. And then also looking at game preview, stuff like that, with when I shared earlier that, hey, he's never had a 500 season or a losing season. So he does have something to play for. It may be very hard to take him out of the game. They've got a lot of new momentum going with their pass game over the last week or two. So they might want to keep that momentum going. So I think it's going to be hard to pull Tom. If he starts the game, I think it's going to be hard to pull him out of the game. I don't know if I picked the last one first. I think I did. I'm taking the Bucs.
Yeah, it's a weird scenario. I mean, apparently the Bucs aren't playing any of their starting receivers. So even if Tom's playing, I don't think Mike Evans is playing. I don't think Chris Godwin is playing. I think Tom's playing, but from what I heard, I don't think the receivers are playing because they don't need to win or anything today. So they are sitting some guys. So even if Tom's playing, I don't think all the starters are playing. I think they're resting some defensive guys too. I would be shocked if they weren't. And that's why I think the line's like that. So Atlanta at home by 4. I think I'll go with the Bucs because even with the backups or whatever, they can still keep it within a field goal or still potentially win.
Right.
So if Tom is playing, we've seen him so many years before. Who cares if his starting receivers aren't playing? He's still going to put it in the numbers of, 4th, 5th string receiver. He can still move the ball. He'll still probably throw it 40 times. I'll take the Bucs just because that spread is 4. I don't see them losing by more than a field goal, even if they don't have all their starters.
All right, so Panthers are going on the road to play the Saints. Saints are favored by 3.5 at home over the Panthers. Who you got here?
Man, the Saints won a game last week, but Sam Darnold's been playing pretty good ball here and there for the Panthers. Maybe just enough to keep that job going into next year, or at least having an advantage of competing with someone for that job still. You got old redhead Andy Dalton there. It's the half that gets me because I feel like the Saints could win, but just by a field goal, maybe not by 3.5. That half point could be a big situation in that game. Since the Saints at home and this game doesn't matter and the Saints won last week, I'm going to take the Saints. I know that half point is there, which I don't really like. But in a game that doesn't matter, maybe the home team just gives their fans a little something at the end of the season to celebrate. And so I'll take the Saints for that reason.
Okay. I'm going with the Panthers. Panthers can put up some points. And I just think they're good. If they can do what they've been doing, they'll easily outscore the Saints. And so I'm taking the Panthers on the road, and Kim's got the Saints, and Robert is picking the home team, which is the Saints. So, so we're kind of split, even with the viewers. Texans, Colts. Texans are going to go on the road to play the Colts. Colts are favored by 3 at home. And I'm taking the Texans. This is Lovie Smith's last game as a head coach, I think. And yeah, I'm taking the Texans. I'm taking the Texans.
So I'm looking here. If the Texans lose, they get the first pick in the NFL draft, which shouldn't matter, but sometimes it does to these teams that are terrible. If they win and the Bears lose, then the Bears and the Texans have the same record, and I'm not sure how that's going to work, but they would both have an opportunity, I think, to have the first pick in the NFL draft. Either way, though, Texans, Bears are going to have the first 2 picks in the NFL draft, and the Bears don't need a quarterback, so I don't think they need to worry about not getting the guy they want. They'll both get the guy they want. So, Colts by 3 at home. I feel like they have a better defense going. But the Texans play hard. They don't win, but they do play hard, and they stay in games.
They almost beat the Cowboys.
Yeah, they stay in games, and they play hard. They just don't win. They don't. Unfortunately, Pierce, the running back, who was great all year, was up for Rookie of the Year most of the way through the year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, won't be playing, so that's a big blow to them. But yeah, Lovey's going to want to win. Probably the last game he maybe is a head coach ever. You want to go out winning, especially when you've only won 2 games. And the Colts are they're a dumpster fire, really. There's so much crazy stuff going on there. They obviously have a coach that's not going to be their coach next year. Saturday's not going to get the job, especially after having a 33-point biggest comeback on his record in, few games he's coached. But I also need to catch up games on you for this season, and this could be one I can get. That's the only reason I can see the Texans winning this game. But I'm going to take the Colts at home just because I need to pick up games on you in our season. And this is one maybe I could sneak and get.
Okay. Yeah. If they're starting running backs out, and I was trying to just look here. When I said this kid's going to be good running back for the Cardinals, and the Cardinals dropped him for still reasons we don't know, and why I can't find him on the roster now for the Texans. He's not. I can't find him on the active roster. Why can't I think of his name? Because he filled in for. He was a kickoff returner and second string quarterback behind Connor, and when Connor was out,
was it Elijah Benjamin?
Benjamin, I think. Yeah, I think it's Benjamin.
Yeah, it's Benjamin.
His last name.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say he's I don't know that I've seen him really play much since he's been with the Texans, but. Maybe if he's given the go, I don't think that that's going to be much of a downgrade because this kid is, like I said, he's a strong runner, but reserved, injured, no, down there. Practice squad. Did they put him on the practice squad? That would be embarrassing. No, I don't see him. Anyway, so all right, so I'm taking the Texans. Just the Texans. Regardless of just been playing tough. You're right. They can't win games, but they did recently win another game, and I just feel this is a winnable game. I think that's why I took the Texans, because it's a winnable game for them.
Yeah, it is.
And you don't want to have your last game of the season, be a loss. The Colts got an interim coach. It's okay if they lose. So. All right, we'll see. All right, Cardinals 49ers. So I have no idea who the Cardinals are playing today at quarterback. I didn't look. I think it was somebody they picked up that played last week also. But 49ers are at home, favored by the week's equally biggest spread. Who you got here? I don't know. Who you got here? That should be no question.
Yeah, we still have something to play for. We do have a chance to get the 1 seed in a week 1 bye if we can get that 1 seed by chance. So Yeah, I'll take the Niners 14 at home. Plus, we still have to kind of get Brock Purdy rolling. I mean, he's going to be our quarterback in the playoffs, so we definitely this could be a game where you see the 49ers throw a lot more than maybe they normally do, just because I think you need to get Brock as many reps as possible going into the playoffs with as many passing plays as you can, as they may be needed in the playoffs. So I think you really try to give him a chance to work on a lot of things today. And that being said, our defense is playing so good. You guys don't have any of your quarterbacks playing. James Conner's not playing. Hopkins isn't playing. So basically you have not a lot of skill guys playing against the number one defense in the league. So how are you going to score any points? I don't see you scoring points very well today.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the 49ers could score 21-24 and maybe still win by 14. They maybe give up 10 points today to the Cardinals, if that. 6, 9, a few field goals. But yeah, I'll definitely take the 49ers.
Yeah, I'm taking the 49ers as well and over my Cardinals. I just looked it up. Eno Benjamin was actually released by the Texans and is now a running back for the New Orleans Saints. So, because they were in play, I guess, when he was originally released by the Cardinals. And, and he actually played last week. 7.2 yards per carry, 36 yards on 5 rushing attempts. So, yeah, he's a Saint now. All right, I'm going to get caught up here a little bit on some of our comments. We've got Kim's got the 49ers. Robert's taking Skyler. Whitney's got the 49ers, and Robert's 9's 35-3. That's
I like it.
Where are the points going to come from, right? I mean, Marquise Brown, Green, Robbie Anderson, and where the points going to come from? As long as you can make some throw the ball to them accurately, hopefully they can make some plays. So, we'll see. All right. So, I hate this game. Cowboys Commanders. The Cowboys are going to play the Commanders on the road. And I got to pick this one. This is a tough one for me, but I got to take the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think you got to take the Cowboys. Washington, I don't know if there was a thing going around after last week when the Commanders got eliminated that their coach didn't know that they were eliminated if they lost.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was kind of like it was after the post-game presser, and he was up there and someone asked him, and you couldn't really tell if he was being sarcastic or if he didn't really know. So that was a story this week of like, did the coach really not know that if they lost and something happened, they would be knocked out? Or was he just like frustrated with the question, just like because he was so dry pan, you couldn't tell. You couldn't tell if he was being serious or not. But the Cowboys still have that 1 seed to play for, so they are in a scenario where they still can get the 1 seed. So they still need to put their best effort to win, just in case they can get that 1 seed. And yeah, they're just a better team. They're just a better, well-rounded team. Their defense is great. Don't even know who's playing quarterback for the Commanders today. I don't think it's Heineke.
It can't be Carson Wentz.
It's not Carson Wentz again. Because they're out, I think they might be playing their third string because they're one of those teams that has nothing to play for. So it's like, hey, let's see what guys we want to keep on the squad for next season.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter for us anymore. So I think the Cowboys easily win this, by a touchdown.
Yeah, I think I took the Commanders last week because of Carson Wentz, and he was a shit
terrible.
Show.
Yeah, it was awful.
Yeah,
killed their season basically.
Yeah, you lose all momentum. I mean, they had something going. Third string named Skyler.
Skyler.
Everybody's named Skyler now.
Skyler Sunday.
Rams Seahawks. So obviously the Seahawks have a lot to play for and must win the game today. And I did check the weather throughout all of the NFL today. There's a few games going to be cold and cloudy, but no snow, but the Seahawks game is projected to have rain today. And the West Coast has kind of been hit. California is. I guess you guys got this bomb cyclone thing hanging out for 2 weeks or whatever, and but yeah, so rain throughout the day in Seattle. That's no big deal to the Seahawks. So your pick here, who you got?
Oh, I'm taking the Hawks. Hawks at home. The must win. We have a drinking game at our house that every time they show Pete Carroll, you have to take a drink on the sideline because they show him 5 times more than any other coach every broadcast. It's insane. You can count it out. I mean, do it today. If you're going to watch the Seahawks Rams game, count today how many times they show Pete Carroll on the sideline during the broadcast. It's insane every week. But McVay talks about him, the coach of the Rams, maybe being his last year, maybe moving to the broadcast. Anytime you're talking about a coach maybe not being a coach anymore and the season's still going, that's not a great sign for that team. Because, his leadership already 1 foot out the door. I know he loves his job and he's been a pretty good coach, good young coach, but why are you talking with games left in the season about this guy not being the coach and leaving and going in the broadcast and all that kind of stuff? That just doesn't bode well to me. Baker has crazy magic every once in a while, but he's so inconsistent that you never know what's going to happen. And the Seahawks have pretty good ball hawks in their backfield. They have a couple guys that are, near the top of the league in interceptions, some young guys. Baker likes to take chances, so I could see some turnovers happening today. Especially in Seattle with that crowd. They're going to be super pumped up, super loud, home field advantage. So I got to take the Hawks. I don't like that it's 6.5, but I still think Geno Smith has played an amazing season, and they have the talent still to get the Seahawks this big win. They need to give them a chance if the Lions can win tonight to get them in.
The Seattle Seahawks are not going to make the playoffs because I almost said the St. Louis Rams. Los Angeles Rams are going to win the game or lose by less than 6.5. Well, no, that would actually that puts Seahawks into the playoffs. No, Rams are going to win this game. And you know what? I watched the game, a game preview this morning, looking at the stats, reading them down, and I'm like, yeah, all the stats just really favor the Seahawks. But
is there a better team?
I heard Whitney yell from downstairs.
Yeah, she said, "What, Chuck?"
No, you know what? I think Baker Mayfield has got a lot to play for in this game. And I think this game is there's Cam Akers has been running over 100 yards for the last 2 games, and the Rams, they lost last week to the Chargers, but they should have lost that game, and they still were competitive. The Seahawks beat the Jets, and he's going to drive to AC, slap me silly. No, I just think I think when we look at last week's games to where we're at today, I don't know. I'm taking the Rams.
Bold choice.
Yeah. But even if it's not 6.5, I win the pick. So
that's a big spread.
So hopefully, if worst case scenario, the Rams keep it close, just for my pick. But I'd like to actually see the Rams win. All right. So now that I'm the most hated family member in the web household, Giants Eagles. Eagles are favored by also an equal to the 49ers, 14 points at home. I picked last time, so I will. This is a tough one because the Giants. This is a tough one for me. 14 points is a lot of points.
Is Hurts playing today?
What's that?
Is Hurts playing?
Good question.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, let me know because you'd almost would have to believe he is, because Hurts is playing. Robert says, and Kim's take the Giants for the win. my BFF team, but she knows they are playing Super Bowl
Yeah.
champs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to take the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Eagles too. The Giants are locked in their playoff spot, so they don't really need to play all their starters. They have nothing to play for. Nothing changes for them, but the Eagles still have to win this game to get the 1 seed, and they're at home, and he got Hurts back, so all the fans are going to be pumped up. All the teammates are going to be pumped up that their leader's back on the field. They're going to play well for him. Robert's right. 14 is a lot, especially against a team that they're a playoff team. The Giants are in the playoffs, and they're underdogs by 14 points today. And I got to think that's because they're going to sit a bunch of people. So Eagles at home. I'll take the Eagles at home too. Just because, yeah, I feel like the Giants are going to sit a lot of dudes, and the Eagles need to win this game, and they'll go crazy at home on the Giants.
Yeah, Eagles have to win this game. They've lost the last two, and when they could have locked up, the number one the last 2 weeks, and this is a must win for the Eagles. I don't think it'll bode well for them if they lose this game. I mean, going into the playoffs, just with that momentum. But Chargers, Broncos. Chargers are on the road playing Mile High City, 3.5 points on the road. And so who you got here?
Once again, Chargers don't have anything to play for. They're locked in. They're not moving in the playoffs. Broncos, they're not playing for anything either. If Russ plays today, I'm not sure if Russell's playing today, but if he does play today, if he gets sacked 3 times, he will be sacked more than any other quarterback in the NFL this season. He'll surpass Justin Fields by 1. And that should be a sign. So you got Bosa on the other side for the Chargers. Right. You got Mack on the other side for the Chargers. I mean, for a guy that gets sacked a lot, it doesn't look real good for him today going against 2 really good pass rushers on the Chargers. So I'm going to take the Chargers because I still feel like the Chargers are a team that's 50-50 usually on games. Like they have all that talent and you think they should win a lot, but this is a game where I don't feel like the Chargers should rest everybody because I still feel like they need to play well. And they need to get a win, and they need to have that confidence going into the playoffs because they're not a team like the Eagles this year or, one of those, the Bills, the Chiefs. They have a great record, but they're just getting by games, but they don't always play great. So I feel like they need to put it on a weak Broncos team on the road to give them, some oomph going into the playoffs. So I'm going to take the Chargers. Plus, the Broncos are just kind of flailing. Their offensive line is terrible, and the Chargers have a great pass rush.
Yeah, again, this is a momentum game going to the playoffs for the Chargers. They had a midseason injuries bout with Williams and as well as Herbert, and so they're putting it back together full strength. This is again big momentum game. Chargers should be able to go in and take care of this by 3.5 or more. And so I'm taking the Chargers for sure. And getting our Herbert in there into the playoffs. 1 game left. Probably, we kind of talked about this earlier. Probably for me, the game of the week, Lions-Packers, just because there's a lot going on here. Packers have to win to get in. And the Lions have just been, when they lose, they lose. But when they win, they just score a ton of points. They've got Jared Goff. They've got him playing efficiently and not making mistakes. And I put my name next to the Lions here.
You know what? I don't think that's wrong because to get into this playoffs and how the Lions can move the ball. The inconsistency of the Packers, even though they've been playing better the last handful of games, this could still come down to a game-winning field goal. I feel like this could definitely be, like you said earlier, the game of the week. It's the last game of the regular season. It's the night game, national TV, national audience. Both these teams, fighting to get in. I think it could come down to I either think it's going to come to a last-second field goal, or the home field advantage is going to be too great, and the Packers are going to blow the Lions out. Like, it's going to go either way. I feel like either the Packers are going to get up on them early, and that home field is going to swallow up the Lions, and then the Packers are just going to blow them out, or it's going to come down to a last-second field goal. That being said, I am going to take the Packers at home just because of history. If you're a Lions fan, you have so much hope going into today, which is a bad thing for a Lions fan because you haven't had hope for 30 years. You know, the last time I remember the Lions being anything is just because Barry Sanders could rush for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns a game in the mid-90s. And could maybe do enough for your offense to get you a field goal first round win in the playoffs, or you make the playoffs with him and you lose by 30 in the first round. Lions have had nothing to root for basically their whole franchise's existence. So this is a hard case scenario where I just think I'm going to go on the lines of history and say with this momentum and maybe the best thrower of the football in NFL history at home makes enough throws to just bury the Lions at home to get into the playoffs.
It could go that way. I'm just hoping the Lions, I'm hoping the Lions can pull off the win. If not, I'm hoping that they can keep it within a field goal. Again, we're picking the spread. Yeah. And, we have probably our own personal, hey, I'd be happy to take that loss if they actually could win the game or something kind of weird. It's hard to pick against Aaron Rodgers at home when he needs a win to get in the playoffs, but they just haven't been playing that well at that level. The Lions have just been, to me, a little more consistent. I don't know. And when they do score, they put up a lot of points, a ton of points.
Yeah,
and so it is 11:02. Games have started, so we need to get off here. I think we've kind of, any last thoughts for the week, Dave?
No, I just hope everyone had a good football season. Playoffs are coming, which is exciting. It's always sad because that means it's the end of the season, and I'll have to transition over into the second half of the NBA for my sports and the English Premier League second half soccer. But yeah, it'll be an exciting day just to see who gets in and the scenarios, how they unfold, and the seeding and who's going to play who in the playoffs. So I'm really looking forward to our playoff shows coming up here on Football Beer. That's why we're here, because then they all count. You win or you're out. So we're working toward a champion.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. We'll have to next week review where our beginning of the season picks of who we thought would make the playoffs and the Super Bowl and see how well we did. So we'll have to have that, discuss that next week. But anyway, hey everyone, have a fantastic football day. Thanks for joining us on Facebook and YouTube. I saw some viewers on YouTube today. So thanks for joining us. Hope to see you all back here next week. And hope your teams win. And Bill scored already. So thank you to our brews of the week, Papago Brewing and Elysian. I like that one, and that Dave's got. So all right, have a fantastic day, everyone. We'll see you next week. Bye now.